Ladies and gentlemen, I woke up early, I stayed up late, I burned the midnight oil to bring you the greatest, most anticipated, and perfect arm wrestling card imaginable. And Jersey, this one's for you. Hey everyone, welcome to Arm Wrestling Insider, where we talk about arm wrestling topics and all things arm wrestling. If you like that type of thing, please consider joining the channel. If you don't like that type of thing, well, how'd you even find this video? So now that East vs. West 7 is behind us, we look forward to King of the Table 7, East vs. West 8, 9, 10, 11. But in anticipation for all these upcoming matches, I thought it'd be fun to come up with what I think is the greatest possible card. A card that you could charge $100 for the pay-per-view. A card that everyone would tune in to watch, and every match would be a 10 out of 10 excitement level. So I sat down, I crunched the names, I crunched the numbers, I put everything together, I factored in so many different things, and now I think I have the perfect card. So ladies and gentlemen, and by ladies I mean the 1% of people who watch this video who are actually women, according to my YouTube analytics, well, where was I going? Oh yeah, okay, so here's the card. There's two rules. So the first rule that I stuck to was I made the card East versus West for the most part. Now, most of you guys know who watched East versus West. Usually about 75% of the matches are actual East versus West. Usually the other is East versus East. So I kind of stuck with that just to make the matches more interesting, make it more competitive depending on what level of pullers we have. So that's the first rule. It's gonna be East versus West. And the second rule that I followed for this list, which isn't really a rule, and I also didn't really follow it, but I didn't really factor in the weights of the athletes into the equation, because as anyone who watched East versus West 7 knows, the West got absolutely destroyed, and those were all at the same weight. So for this one I kind of offset it a little bit. So usually it's a little bit of a lighter European going against a little bit heavier of a Western guy, but I just did that in order to make it more exciting, kind of more 50-50 if you will. So without further ado, and with both of those things in mind, let's see if we can come up with the $100 pay-per-view card, starting with match number 1. For the very first match on my card, I had Derek Smith versus Sandra's Cytus. Now this has actually been a match that I've wanted for a long time. In multiple posts on multiple live streams, I've commented for a long time that Derek needs to face Sandra's. So as many of you know, ever since Derek fought Tim Bresnan and beat him, he's kind of been a little bit on the decline. He started here, and then he went about to here, and now he's kind of in the super heavyweight limbo, and no one really knows where he is. On the other hand, we got Sandra's. Now for a while, people thought Sandra's was maybe the second best heavyweight in the entire world. Now with a little more data, we think he's probably somewhere between the 3 to 5 top heavyweights in the world. So with all that being said, Derek is probably somewhere in the 20 to 35-ish range in the super heavyweight division, and then he would be going against the maybe 3 to 4 best of the heavyweight division in the entire world, and it would be interesting to see where those worlds collide and who would come out victorious. Like I said, both guys are big, both guys could kind of meet each other and counter each other a little bit on the table, and I think this match has to happen. I would love to see it. That's enough of that. That's match number 1. Match number 2 on my perfect card will be Chant Shaw versus Iraqi Zarakashvili. Now I'm well aware that there's a huge weight discrepancy in this match, but hear me out for 1 minute. When you think of Chant Shaw, most people think of two things. You think straps and you think hard hit back. And when you think of Iraqi, you think straps and you think hard hit back. So this would be a great match of colliding styles, and I'm here for it. Now, as I just mentioned, Chance has an obvious weight advantage, and Iraqi probably has a strength advantage. And like I said, the styles are so close with this, I think it would be a really good match between East versus West. I don't know, what do you guys think? This one came to mind. I just think both of them hitting back, I want to see it. I want to see who wins. Now the third match on the card would be Marcio Barbosa versus Zurab Tavberidze. I'm terrible at saying that name, but you guys know who I mean. The Giga Chad. Now, believe it or not, Marcio Barbosa is actually undefeated at East versus West. And as everyone knows, Zurab has been one of the most, if not the most active puller at East versus West. Now I think this match would be interesting for a couple reasons. Number one, we want to see Marcio come back. We know he's always hovering around that top 10 to 15 in the United States. Marcio is versatile, he's extremely strong, and he's kind of around that same weight division where it'd be really interesting for him to have a match with Zurab. Now on the other hand, it seems like Zurab is leveling up every single time we see him. He is getting bigger and huge, and it seems like he's not afraid of anyone. He's always looking for a good challenge, and I think Marcio might be that guy. Both are kind of, you know, similar-ish somewhat frames, and I just think it would be a good match. It would probably get somewhere inside, and it would be a good war, in my opinion. So, I don't know. Match number 3. At match number 4, we'd have Jerry Cataret versus Artem Morezoff on the right hand. Now, let's just be honest for a minute. I don't think this one needs a whole lot of introduction. I think everyone in the right mind who knows these guys would love to see this match. Jerry is universally regarded as the best flop presser on the entire planet, and Artem is one of the fastest up-and-comers in the entire world. Morezoff is known for his extreme strength as well as his incredible endurance, but also Jerry is known for the exact same thing. So the question really is, can Morezoff figure out how to stop Jerry's press, and can Jerry get to his press and beat Morezoff? I think this would be a really unique match. It would be a good challenge for Morezoff, who's a younger guy, and it would be a big, powerful opponent for Jerry to knock off if he is able to do so. So Jerry versus Morezoff, everyone will want to see that match. I have no doubts. Match number 5 on the list for the perfect card is Matt Mask versus Tobias Sperone. Now this match is interesting for a couple different reasons. We all know Tobias is mostly well known for his left hand, but he's also good on his right hand, but he's not quite that elite level. Now Matt, on the other hand, I've talked about him lots in videos before. He was high in people's eyes, but slowly over the last couple of years, he's been on a little bit of a decline. So the thing that would make this match interesting is both guys are about 6'5", and both their arms are probably close to about the same length. So I think it'd be a good test for Matt. I think it would also be a good right arm match for Tobias, and I want to see him pull a little more on the right arm. You know, same kind of size, same kind of explosiveness, and believe it or not, like, Tobias is an explosive, crazy hard hitter. So I don't know. Matt Mask, Tobias, what do you guys think? I think this has to happen. At number 6 on the list, we have Paul Lin versus Bacho Sagnashvili. Now, anyone who's been following this channel for any length of time know that I started with a pretty low opinion on Bacho, and now I'm at a very high opinion of Bacho. But the question with Bacho is, we still don't know how good he is. We do know that he walked through Adam, he's explosive, he has a massive hand, and he's probably, some are saying he might be the best in the world at his weight already. But before I'll go that far and give him that title, I think it'd be interesting for him to pull Paul Lin. Now, I'm not even 100% sure where Adam and Paul fall on the spectrum as opposed to each other, but I think it's safe to assume Paul Lin is definitely a little more of a challenge. Also, Adam in a way is known more as a defensive puller, where Paul is explosive, and his explosiveness could match Bacho at the table. Man, if Bacho was able to run through him, well, at least we know Bacho would be higher, but I think Paul and Bacho would be a great test, and I know many people in the polls also think the same. So, match number, whatever I said, 6-ish, Paul Lin versus Bacho. Moving on to match number 7, and this happens to be our first East versus East match, and also, I had this video planned for a little while, but I was unable to film it, and since then, this match has already got announced for the next East versus West 8, so, and again, we're thinking alike. But this match is Giannis Amlins versus Mindaugas Cytus. Now, Mindaugas has been tearing up the weight class for a little bit. He's a younger guy, he's a youthful guy, he's an absolute trash talker, and he's known as the guy who mastered arm wrestling. But on the other hand, we have another guy who has mastered arm wrestling, and he's also known as the Jedi, which is Giannis. Now this match is going to be a little bit of the young blood versus the new blood, but I have a feeling Giannis is not ready to pass that torch on yet, but Mindaugas is surely gonna want to take it. So this match is already set to happen, so I won't talk too much about it. It's going to be a great match. Now at number 8 for the matches that need to happen on the most anticipated card is Adam Worozinski versus Daniel Prokopchuk. Now I know what many of you might be thinking, Adam outweighs Daniel by a large margin, and that is true. However, we are not going to find anyone from the West who can come close to giving Daniel a challenge at his own weight. We've seen Corey Miller and we've seen Doug Ehrlich, and honestly, Daniel is levels above him. So the reason why I picked Adam for this match is because Daniel likes to get into his sweet spot and play defense, and also Adam likes to get into his spot and play defense, and both of them kind of like holding their opponents in the middle. So what I picture for this match is that Adam gets in his position where he's looking at him with his glasses, but also Daniel is in his position and he's kind of doing his little smile while he's holding Adam, and both of them are kind of staring at each other, and it becomes a staring contest as well as an arm wrestling battle. Honestly, I don't know what happened, but it would be a good test for Adam, and it would also be a good test for Daniel. And like I said, we're gonna throw weight categories out the window. Let's just make the matches interesting. So Adam versus Daniel Prokochuk. Let's make it happen. Match number 9 on our $100 pay-per-view card is Alex Kurdecha versus Vitaly Lachlan. Before I even get into this match, I need to ask a question. Alex, where are you? I'm going to make a video calling out a SOS, emergency, missing person alert, and it's going to be about you. So Alex, we need to find you, and we need you to start competing more. Anyway, this match will be between Alex and Vitaly. Now, anyone who's been following this channel for more than a couple weeks will know that this is one of my dream matches. It's two of the tallest pullers in the entire world. It's two of the strongest pullers in the entire world, and surely both guys are in the top 10 or right around it. As I mentioned, Alex hasn't competed in a little while, but most people assume he's somewhere right in there. I honestly feel like this match needs to happen. We need to know who is the true giant in arm wrestling. So Engin Terzi, if you're watching this, please make this match happen. We need to see Alex versus Vitaly. That is one of my dream matches. Everyone in the world wants to see that match. At number 10, we have Corey West versus Alizan Morezoff. Now, one of the craziest things and one of the craziest headlines I saw following East vs West 7 was that Alizan, after defeating Cody Merritt, some people were going as far as to say Alizan should face Morezoff or David Dadikan. But I think we have to pump the brakes on that just a little bit. I do not believe Morezoff is in the top 5 in the world. I also don't necessarily believe Corey West is in the top 5 in the world, but I do believe both are probably somewhere in the top 5 to 10. So if I haven't mentioned at this point yet, this match is obviously on the left hand. But Morezoff has already made it known that he can beat people far greater in size than him, as he knocked off Cody Merritt, like I said. So now Corey West would be the next big guy in his way. So Morezoff versus Corey West would be a great match. I think it would be an absolute war for both guys. I don't think either would win necessarily super easy. I think it'd be interesting, and it would sort some things out on the left. At number 11 on our list, we have Rob Vigent Jr. versus Lachlan Adair. Now, if you guys have been following arm wrestling for just a little while, you know that RVJ and Ryan Bowen from Australia had beef for quite some time. But unfortunately, that match never happened. We never got to see those guys face. But in most people's eyes, RVJ was a level above Ryan, and probably rightfully so. However, Lachlan Adair is also a level above Ryan, and he's kind of the king of Australia. So I think kind of it's all fitting. It's like justice in a roundabout way that RVJ and Lachlan should face someday. RVJ is known for his big hand and his gifted genetics in arm wrestling, but Lachlan is also known for his genetics in gaining strength, and we know that he's conquered Australia and he's looking for the next challenge. And I think RVJ might be that guy, where at least win or lose for either of the guys, I don't think it'd be an easy match for either of them, and I think we'd find out a lot of data as to where Australia truly sits. So RVJ versus Lachlan, that's the match. At number 12, we have Todd Hutchins versus Kindergali Ongerbayev. Now, this match was actually set to happen at least once, perhaps twice at East versus West, but for unfortunate circumstances, we have not seen this match, aka Todd somersaulting down a hill on a quad. I posted a poll on my channel about a month back as to who would win between Ongerbayev and Toddzilla, and about 70% said Ongerbayev and 30% said Toddzilla. But I think this would be a great match, and it's one of the few matches at 105 kilograms that could be really challenging for Ongerbayev yet. Toddzilla is known as an unorthodox kind of extreme side pressure puller, and it would be a different challenge than the guys he's already faced, as in John Brzezinski, Michael Todd, and Iraqi. So the strengths and the angles, aka vectors of Todd, would present a different challenge for Ongerbayev than we've seen already. So I think this is the last guy standing in his way. I think Ongerbayev's probably moving up, but if he doesn't move up in weight quite yet, this is the match that we have to see. Toddzilla versus Ongerbayev. Please make this match happen. At number 13, we have Gennady Kvikvinya versus Reyes Lutidze. Now, I think this match should happen for many reasons. Number one, Gennady's kind of known as the number 2 guy in Georgia, but after what we saw with Reyes and Dave Chafey, many people are thinking maybe Reyes is actually the number 2 guy in Georgia. So I think for that reason alone, to sort out who's the number 1, we know it's Lavon, but to sort out who's the number 2 and the number 3 in Georgia, I think this would be a great match. I think in a lot of people's eyes, especially after East versus West 7, many people would have this match as a 50-50 for Gennady and Reyes. Gennady would be more of the versatile, fundamental, good in all positions type puller, but Reyes would be more of the powerhouse, drive you down to the pad killer. And like I said, in many people's eyes, I think this match would be a 50-50 or close to it, and there wouldn't be an arm wrestling fan on the planet who wouldn't tune in to watch. At number 14, we have our second left-handed match of the event, and it is Vitaly Lachlan versus Artem Morezoff. So these are the only 2 pullers on my list that I put on twice, and I have them both facing each other to kind of even it out a little bit. But here's the thing, Morezoff is currently ranked number 1 in the world. After what we saw Vitaly do to Tobias was about 4th in the world, Vitaly was about 3rd. it looked like there's a pretty big gap. And so the obvious thing is Vitaly and Morezoff need to clash. Vitaly has said it himself, his left arm is very technical and very strong, and it is improving, and he wants the #1 spot in the world. And Morezoff currently has it. Now Morezoff in his own right is extremely strong, but Vitaly has more of the hard hit off the go, more explosive, where Morezoff is more of the catch and pull, outlast you, out endure you type guy. It would be more of a match like, can Morezoff stop the hit and bring it back and somehow fatigue Vitaly, because we have to assume that Vitaly would get the hit off the go every single time. So I don't know. I honestly think Vitaly is higher up on the left than people are saying, but that only leaves about 2 spots. So I think this match would be super interesting. I also think this match would be closer to 50-50 than a lot of people are giving it credit for. So Morezoff versus Vitaly, left hand, let's make it happen. Let's move on. Match number 15 on the card features the GOAT, Jon Brzezinski versus Yevgeny Prudnik. Now Prudnik is probably right around the #2 heavyweight puller in the entire world, and he would probably be the favorite against Jon, but it's Jon Brzezinski, and we need to see this match happen. I do believe Jon Brzezinski would be the underdog in this match. However, it is Jon Brzezinski, and you do not underestimate, or you do not bet against the GOAT. If there's anyone who can find a way to beat Prudnik at around the same weight, I'm giving it to Jon. Now maybe some of you are thinking, well, Jon couldn't beat Angarbayev and he couldn't beat Iraqi. Well, it's possible that he had COVID for at least 1, maybe 2 of those. And a lot of people are saying that Jon could have actually beat Iraqi, but he was kind of playing with his food and it ended up coming back to bite him. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, both those things are true. Jon had COVID, Jon played with his food. That would set up a great match for Prudnik, and you better believe Jon would take Prudnik extremely serious. Now, if this match does happen, it has to happen soon, because Jon is pushing 60, so his days of getting better and his days of improving are already behind him. So now is the chance if this match will ever happen. So Prudnik versus Jon is the match that we need to set. Do not discount Jon. Even if Jon wins the first round, that would be a victory. I will celebrate, but let's make this match happen. So at match number 16, we have Dave Easy Money Chafey versus Zaur Pezalayev, aka Dinosaurs. By the way, if any of you guys are from North America, or maybe even around the world, do you guys remember the candy called Dinosaurs? Because every time I hear the name Dinosaur, that's always what I think of. And by the way, those candies were super underrated. Anyway, back to the match. So unfortunately for Dave, whether true or false, for better or for worse, Dave's stock dropped a little bit at East versus West 7. On the other hand, Zaur has been knocking off tournament after tournament after tournament. However, he also did have a bicep tear, so he is coming back. But the reason we need this match is for a couple different reasons. Zaur has been absolutely dominating Russia, but he hasn't left Russia to dominate the world, and we need to see him on the world stage. And who is the best person on the world stage to test in fundamental strength? Dave Chafey. Now, like I just said in the defeat that we just saw with Dave, it's possible that Dave's injuries are nagging. Maybe he is aging. He's around 48 years old. Maybe he is slowly on the decline, or else Reyes is just way up there. But one thing we would know for sure is that we would learn a lot of information from this match. If Dave is able to beat Zaur, then we know that Zaur was completely overrated. If the match is close, we know roughly where Zaur is, and we kind of know where the other guys in Russia stand. And if the Dinosaur is absolutely able to run through Dave like Reyes did, then we know that Zaur is playing with the big boys, and we know that he's on the world-class stage, and it would set up some really good matches. But we would collect a lot of data no matter the outcome, and that's my point for this match. I think strength for strength and the style of Zaur, Dave Chafey is the only guy from the West that you can put against him. So a right-handed match, Dave Chafey versus Zaur Pezalayev. Let's make it happen. We need to find out how good that guy is. And by the way, thank you guys so much if you stayed to this point of the video. There's only 2 matches left, and these are the grand finale matches. So at match number 17 on our ultimate card, it's the match that's inevitable. We know it's going to happen one day, and it's going to be one of the biggest matches of all time. Devin No Limits Larrett versus Hermes Gasparini. Now this match is a long time coming, and this is a match that everyone in the world wants to see. I just recently saw a poll where actually Hermes is the 70% favorite against Devin, and Devin being the underdog in a match, that doesn't really happen. But this is following his match with Gennady. So now some people are questioning, is Devin really that guy? And other people are saying, Hermes is probably the number 2 guy in the world, and those people are probably right because of what we saw him do with Lavon. Hermes was calling out Devin a long time ago, and Devin kind of seemed to be dodging him a little bit. Now we know that Devin had his eyes set on Lavon at the time, but now that ship might be sailed for a little bit, and if Devin wants to knock off truly the top elite Europeans, Hermes is absolutely in his way. We know that Hermes would have the advantage when it comes to the hit, the explosiveness, and the back pressure, and we know that Devin would have the advantage of the table IQ, the endurance, all that stuff you always see from Devin. It would be one of the greatest matches that we'd ever seen of the tortoise versus the hare, and 2 of the top in the world. Please, this match needs to happen. It will happen. It's just a matter of when, so why not throw it on our hypothetical great card? Devin versus Hermes. Come on. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much if you stayed to the end of this video. I don't know how long this is going to be when I throw it all together. I have a feeling that I'm rambling on and it's taking longer than I ever thought, but we're here. We're at the end of the card, the final finale of the match, match 18. So at match 18, we have the inevitable match that needs to happen. When this match happens, I think it will be the most hyped arm wrestling match in world history. And this match is no other than Lavon Sagnashvili versus Denis Siplankov. When you think of the most fundamentally strong arm wrestlers that ever walked the planet and some of the strongest humans, you think of Lavon and you think of Denis. We've seen puller after puller after puller go up against Lavon. They've thrown everything at the guy. They've tried every style. They've thrown the kitchen sink at him, but there's one thing no one was able to do, and that was match him strength for strength. And many people believe that the only guy in the world who's even has that strength to match him is Denis. Now we know that Denis, ever since his health scare, has been slowly climbing back to get back to his peak strength. Many people think that he'll never get back to his absolute peak strength, but we also think that he's probably a better arm wrestler now than he was a decade ago. Denis is one of those pullers who's extremely strong and extremely hard to pin, and he gets stretched out almost in an open top roll, almost a king's move, and even when he's locked in that position, it's unreal static strength. Super hard to pull through, and Denis never even looks like he's sweating when he's in that position. He's just calm and he just holds. And I think if Lavon was to somehow get into that position with Denis, it would be one heck of an arm wrestling match. Denis is obviously an amazing puller in tournament formats. However, he likes to specialize in super matches and he likes to specialize to one opponent. And I have a feeling, guys, if this match was to happen, it would be a barn burner. It would be a match where the 2 peaks of the sport, the highest pinnacles of strength ever reached, clash at the table. It would be something like some superhero stuff. This match needs to happen. It will be the most hyped match on earth when it happens, and many people believe Denis will be the first guy to get a pin on Lavon. And if he's able to do that, Denis' name will live on forever. So there it is, guys. That is my ultimate East versus West arm wrestling card of all time. There's a lot of matches that I could have made that I didn't, but obviously I had to draw the line somewhere. Well, that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment. I want to know, what is the ultimate East versus West matches that you want to see? Which ones did you like on my list? Which ones did you hate? Maybe some of them you don't think are even reasonable. Like I said, I tried to make them about 50-50. I tried to make them at the most peak excitement that we'd learn a lot of data from. So let me know which matches you want. Let me know what you agreed and disagreed with. And also let me know, what is the most amount of money that you pay for this pay-per-view? I would pay $100, no questions asked. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm kind of rambling on. This is turning into a lot longer video than I thought. I just like talking arm wrestling. I look forward to seeing you all in the comments. Thank you very much. Have a great day.